Hi everybody, it's Barbie at Nellie North Designs. Welcome back. Today I am going to complete my last 2 pages in the Yo-Yo journal, and then it's going to be sent off to Scotland. Today is the 14th, and Liz asked if I could mail it out after the 18th. She's on holiday, so this puts me right in line with everything. I'm gonna glue this down a little bit. This is coming up and I don't want it to tear. I just noticed that. If you haven't seen any of the videos on the Yo-Yo Journal, or you don't know anything about it, you're a new-time viewer, I'm doing a collaboration with Liz over at Buttons for Brains, and Liz is in Scotland. And this week has been a very tough week on the people of the UK and especially in Scotland. As you all know, Queen Elizabeth II passed away peacefully at her home in Scotland. And so I thought that it would be very befitting, seeing that this is my journal with a USA Scottish theme. I really wanted to pay tribute to Queen Elizabeth II today. And I also wanted to try a new technique. I want to say procedure, new technique. And I purchased not too long ago. I'm going to show you. I'll give you a little intro before I actually start on my page. For those of you that are familiar with Jane Chipp, Jane and Jack came out with a wonderful book, How to Create Unique Art with Old Photographs. It's their Artful Memories book. I do have a video on this that I can link if you're interested in this. But in here, Jane, I've always admired Jane's work greatly. She just does some fantastic pieces. So I went and purchased this because there's a lot of times I just don't know how her techniques, how she's done it, the whole process of doing it from, beginning to end. And she explains everything. Her and Jack explain everything very, very well in here. And I highly recommend this book if you want to try some new techniques and you want to try some new things in your junk journals or your scrapbook pages, your glue books, whatever you are into. So because I wanted to pay tribute to Queen Elizabeth II in my USA Scottish journal, I ran off 2 photos on the internet today, and these are images that were on there, and I'm using them for my personal work. So I wanted to capture her. She was such a beautiful woman as a young queen. And then this was taken very recently prior to her passing. And my favorite color is green. And I just thought these 2 photos, they just speak to me. And I wanted to use these here. So I ran them off. I needed a vertical and a horizontal photo to complete this project. And I have been reading and rereading and looking and rereading this one article in particular in the book. And it's titled Weaving a Dream. It's in the chapter under Working with Scissors. And I know Jane had mentioned, to use 2 old photographs, 2 different photos. She really enjoys using vintage photos. That's what she's known for. So I'd sit at night. I sit at night when I watch or listen to TV, and I go through her book with a fine-tooth comb, and I just read it and reread it and think and look at it and reread some more, because her artwork just fascinates me. So this method I wanted to really try. And I wanted it to be a special. I have a lot of old photographs that I will probably make copies of and then try this technique with some family photos just for a little different take on it. So I read, reread, watched, went back to Jane's Instagram and her YouTube and watched some more, kind of looked at these patterns, and I had to get the whole process in my head as to, a pattern I wanted to use, so on and so forth. And she did say in here, the type of photos you pick will depend on the outcome of your project. So these were the two, like I said, these were the two photos that I chose. And I'm going to be putting both of these in my glue book because I just absolutely love these. I'll be running more photos of the Queen with her corgis, and I really want to just spend some time and just really think about and spend some time with the Queen. I mean, even though I'm in the U.S., I'm a big royal follower, and I'm just fascinated with Her Majesty and the whole way it works over there, the royal family and the monarchy and all of that. So I started gathering images and different things. So I will show you what I'm going to be, the page layouts. Then I'm going to get back to the initial project. I spent a couple hours on it this morning, making sure that everything came out right. But back a while ago, Liz sent me some beautiful Scottish tartan plaid, and I just thought, because the Queen, I believe it was in Balmoral, that was what was in Scotland, and correct me if I'm wrong, I wanted to make a tribute to the Queen, and her love of Scotland. And again, because this is a USA Scottish yo-yo journal, I just thought it was very fitting. So Liz had sent me a goodie box at one point, and this beautiful, it's so soft, it's wool material fabric. So I wanted to use that to represent Scotland. And then she also sent me some beautiful Scottish lace and some little crocheted lace. So I cut this down, and I would like to, this is going to be here on this page. So basically this is the Scottish background. No pun intended there. But I'm going to be attaching that, and I will most likely stitch it. I'm just going to stitch on each end, and you'll see why. I don't want to glue this because the picture is going to be going here. On this side here, we can work on this. I did run off the Queen's decree, where she said, I declare before, this was when she was 25 years of age, I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and the service of our great imperial family, to which we all belong. So these are wonderful postage stamps of the Queen. I have a lot of them, and I wanted to frame this in here with the stamps. And then her favorite flower was Lily of the Valley. At least that's what I found to be. And this came from, I have a wonderful little book here. It's an old, and I've showed you this before, but it's an old calendar And I don't know, oh, this goes back to 2019. And I bought it at Barnes& and Noble for $5. It was on the clearance rack. And I figured I could use the little square cutouts in different ways. They have wonderful little sayings on them. And so I went through here because I figured there had to be some Lily of the Valley in here. So I had two. I found this one here with some Lily of the Valley. And I wasn't sure. I might still cut this out and use it. Maybe not. But with this saying, there is just one life for each of us, our own. I think I'm going to save this and put it in my glue book with the photos because I think that is just perfect to go in there. So I did fussy cut this one out here, which I will be putting in here like this. And then I have this little tiny stamp of the Queen from Australia, and I'm going to just be attaching that right down there. So we can do that first. And I'm going to glue all of this on. And I have been, speaking of glue, I have been glued to the Royal Family channel on YouTube, and I've been watching as much as I can the procession and things that are going on with King Charles right now, with all of his duties and what he has to do to become king. Okay, so that is done. And this here I ran off on my Google Docs, and I used like a deep plum, and I used typewriter. I used typewriter paper to print this out because I wanted more. I wanted more of a little transparent feel to it. It still looks white, but it's not like regular cardstock or paper. And then the Lily of the Valley, I will put as such like that. And I'm only going to do half, and then I'll do the other half when I get it down. Because I want to make sure that I have that there like that. Let me just move this here. This I cut out, but it's, there we go. And I've been listening to the crows. I don't know if you can hear them. They have been so loud this morning. I don't know what is going on. I actually had to go out and clap my hands and shoo them away a little bit because they were out in the front yard and they were just really cackling up a storm. Although crows don't cackle, they caw. Actually, cawing up a storm. And I'm just going to get another little piece of paper here. is little. When I said little, get that down. Okay. All right, so that page is done. So I think before I finish and show you the photo, I'm going to stitch this. I'm just going to break away for a minute, and I just want to stitch the ends on here because I'm going to be adding a charm. I'm going to be adding the Scottish, this is the thistle, and I want to add that. This is the Scottish emblem, and I want to add that right there in the corner, so I don't want it really to come down. If I glue it, I don't want it to come off. So I'm going to step away and turn over to my sewing machine, and I'm going to tack that down quickly. Okay, so I have that all stitched. I just tacked, you can see right here, about a 1/2 inch on each side, so that won't go anywhere. So I'm going to glue this down, and I'm going to use my fabric tack. Actually, it's my Beacon 3-in-1. I'm going to use that. So I'm going to get this all around the sides here. And then I can always add more if I need to on the edges. I don't want to go over either. Okay. I'm gonna put that on here. I can move it around just a little bit because of the doesn't adhere immediately like some glues we work with. That over to the side. I want to make sure there's enough room to close this and it doesn't bunch up. So I think that's good. And I think it's funny because in one of Marguerite Miller's challenges, she asked, one of the prompts was to use your least favorite color. And my least favorite color has always been purple. But I'm finding that since I said that, I'm using more and more purple in my art. I really like purple in the garden. I love it mixed with red flowers, purple and red. But like I said, I'm finding that I'm using it more and more in my art. I'm finding it goes very well with the blacks and the grays. Okay, so here is this page here, which is nice because it gives this page, it makes it a little bit sturdier because Liz has a very delicate image on this side. So, all right. The other thing I ran is Queen Elizabeth II, April 21st, 1926, December to September 8th, 2022. Now, I don't know if I want to put that under here, which might be kind of nice, because I would really like to show the lace. I thought about putting it here. I don't know. I might still do that, but if I'm going to put the charm on, I don't want that. I don't want it ripping and tearing. I don't know. What do you think? If I put that there and I slide this underneath to protect it, that might be nice as well, because that would protect it. You could just lift it up. I don't know. Well, we'll decide on that. I think I might put it underneath just to protect it. So this is the image here. Remember, I took this photo here, and I took this one here. And using Jane's technique, this is how it came out. And I absolutely love it. I had to fiddle with it quite a bit. So when you create this, you have to cut your photos in a particular fashion, and when you have your horizontal and your vertical, and you have to cut them a certain dimension, a certain width. Then you start feeding through. Obviously, when you start, it's very easy as you start at the top here, but as you go along, I'm going to lower this down just a little bit so you can really see. As you start weaving and going along, it becomes a little bit tighter. So when you do this project, you have to have a lot of patience. Jane doesn't put that in her book, but you just have to think about it, and you have to be, I did this in a very quiet, I like to watch Netflix when I scrap off camera. I didn't do that when I was cutting because I just didn't want to make a mistake. You have to use a X-Acto knife, you have to use a ruler, you have to measure things out, you have to flip, you have to number and label. Then you start weaving. And again, Jane will give you some patterns. So I don't know if you can see it. There's one here in particular. This seems a little bit wider. I don't know why, but this one strip to me seems just a little bit wider than the others. So this one here, you can see I did it every other. Then I came down and I did every 2. All right. And I only did that for a certain way. Then I started doing every other again. So when I initially did it, I did every other, then I did every 2, every 2, every 2, every 2. But as Jane specified in her book, find a pattern that you like and then finish it. So I didn't like the way the every other 2 looked. I wanted more of the queen's face. I wanted this smile here. I wanted her eyes, and I wanted most of her face here to show through. And the way I had cut this other photo, her eyes were smaller, and they weren't as pronounced. So I wanted to make sure that when I fed this through, her eyes were showing here. So I don't know if you can see it, but you can see, if you concentrate right here on this circle here, this area, you can see the queen's face, her smile. As you come down, you can see her strand of pearls coming down and around. Her brooch is down here. This is her hat up here, the green. At first, I wasn't sure, I was on the fence about this technique, but the more I look at it and the more I observe it, I really, really, really like it. And in Jane's book, the one thing that you have to keep in mind is In her book, she makes a note. We'll put that in the yo-yo journal in just a minute. She makes a note in here. I think it's over on here. This is the one that, you know, old photos remind us that we exist in a grand continuum with and amongst past, present, and future, and within a living and conscious timeline. I don't know, that just really struck me, and I just felt that that suited, that little quote just suits this. And again, like I said, the more that I look at it, you know, you have the past, you have the present. You know, to me, it's because you can't see a lot of Queen Elizabeth in the modern, you know, the recent, it's kind of her, you know, to me, it's her fading away. It's the beginning, you know, the beginning of the end of her passing. And for me, you really have to focus on the queen and what she meant to everyone. And yeah, you can really think about it and get in your own head and do whatever. And then, you know, Jane said you can leave the your pull tabs, your extra photo or your extra photo strips on the side. I chose to cut them off. I wanted it to be a little more refined, like Queen Elizabeth was. And I'm going to tuck that right there in that spot. And on the back, you know, Jane said you can glue it. I held this together. I put tape on here. I didn't want a lot of the glue coming through. So again, what I'm going to do, because I don't want to slather the back with glue, I'm going to take a scrap and I'm going to just, I'm going to glue it here, the top and the bottom, and maybe on here. Then I'm going to glue it into the book. Because I just don't want glue to seep through on the photo. So I'm just going to cut this down a little. And I'm just taking, as you can see, a scrap paper. This was a note that I had made to myself for one of my other videos. And I keep all my scrap paper for times, you know, like this. And I'm going to take my art glitter glue, and I'm going to put it on the paper here. Let's see here. And I'm just going to make some little dots down the side here. Obviously, I didn't make them over far enough. But I think that will be good. That will suffice. That is on there. And then I will again, I'm going to be using this glue here because it's going onto the fabric. And I'm going to try to get this as close to the edge as well without getting it all over my mat. I don't want any of this on the photo. And I think that'll be good. I don't think I need to slobber it all that much. And I'm just going to slide this through here. Get that centered. I think that's good. And I don't want to get any glue on the front, so I will get a paper. And I will just press that down. If you get fingerprints on your papers, you can always use a cloth diaper to. There's a little bit of glue that did get on here. I'll take a cloth diaper and then I will wipe all that away. I don't really want it to set in. But that's why I didn't want to put any glue on the front. There's a little tiny piece of glue here that came across. And I will get that off after. I'll leave that. Okay. All right. So now we can, yeah, I don't want to take anything away from the photo, so I think I am going to place that underneath. I'm going to place it underneath there like that. And again, I'm going to use this glue here. This is like, reminds me of hot glue where you have these little end trailings or, oh, come on, Barbie. Okay. Okay. There. I'm going to put that there. Yeah, I think that's fine right there like that. Then we're going to put the little Scottish, and this is why I wanted to put, stitch this on, because this will be hanging and I didn't want it to come off. So there is today's project. Raise a little bit. I really, really, really enjoyed trying Jane's, opening up her book and trying a new technique. I think that everybody should try something new. It was definitely out of my comfort zone, but I also thought it was a wonderful way to merge Queen Elizabeth's life from young to old, and I just think it's a very nice way to honor her and remind me of her wonderful life, her service, her love of Scotland mostly. And that is it. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd love to have you give me a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, I'd love to have you go back and look at some of my old videos that I have done. There might be something in there that you see that you like. I'd love to have you subscribe. And for those that have stuck around with me and supported my art, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much. So I will see you in my next video, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.